What are your thoughts, both of you?
Well, is Lisa caught up with the filing?
Almost.
Okay, because it'll be filing, the agenda,
Letters, writing.
letters, resolutions.
Attend the meetings.
When it's sitting like that, I don't get 20 hours there.
Well, one of the things that I've kind of asked for, I've not kind of asked for, I have asked for is a proposal. So I guess maybe this is the beginnings of a proposal. A lot of the jobs here are already being attended to. The filing, we have an employee who's already not quite full-time who has said she will do the filing. It just needed to be fixed because it was such a mess. After that's done, we have somebody who will handle that for us. The agenda, that is done as the subjects come in, but it's the chairman's job to do the agenda. It's not a secretary's agenda, it's a commission agenda. It doesn't take anything more than a couple of clicks on the keyboard. Honestly, the agenda takes 10 minutes because it's a continuing process of adding appointments as they are called into the book. Letter writing, we should be responsible for our own communication with the public. Writing a letter and sharing it with each other for edits is minutes. A few of our letters are over a page long. In fact, they shouldn't be over a page long. Resolutions, yeah, we can hire a secretary for that, but for somebody to be hired and then trained on how to write a resolution, you're looking at somebody who's making a lot more than secretarial wages. Those then go to the county attorney. It's a legal document. Attend the meetings. That's what the three of us do. Why do we need to pay somebody more out of county funds to attend a meeting the three of us already attend?
So they can handle things. It isn't the mess like we've been having. All of a sudden, bang, appointments that we're supposed to have been on were canceled. Different things. We definitely need a secretary to handle things.
I don't think there's been any of that. We've had guests, so to speak, that were on the agenda that they had to cancel for whatever reason.
The secretary's not going to uncancel canceled appointments where somebody doesn't show up.
No.
I would suggest this, to understand the job first and then come forward with a detailed description of what a secretary would do for us. But in order to understand the job, this commission needs to do more than just come to meetings. There needs to be time in the office actually doing the job, management of our employees, tracking the budget, tracking the mail prior to this meeting so that nothing is a surprise, and then attending the meetings. That's the least of our job as
Right.
commissioners. So I personally have a very hard time justifying additional funds when this commission doesn't do the hours that we're paid for right now. The citizens pay us 96 hours a week to do the commission job. We're paid for 26, but that equates to 32 hours a week for each of us. If we were each doing the hours that we are currently paid for, I don't believe there would be anything left for a secretary to do. The next question I have on this pseudo proposal is specific to the resolution writing and the letter writing. What is your proposal for an hourly rate? And if you hire somebody who's never had a job before, say at minimum wage, who's going to train them? I don't have the time already being in the office and doing the commission work. Who's going to come in and train this person to write resolutions, to write letters, proper business letters, format?
Well, I'm hoping that whoever applies has already got some of this experience.
And so what is your proposal for an hourly wage?
And we just kind of tossed it a little bit.
Well, you're not going to get somebody who knows resolution writing who is, who's at the low end of the pay scale, just like we aren't. And that's frankly our job. The proposal is to hire somebody to do our job, it just doesn't sit well with me. Fiscally.
It's not our
just-
job to be writing these letters and doing that.
Absolutely it is, absolutely
When I
it
first started
is.
here, there was that's when Natalie's there, she had this mail, she had everything lined right out, and we knew just what to do right along the way. The way it is now, it's been a mess.
I disagree. I disagree strongly. Well, there's no doubt about it that Laura's been carrying the bulk of the job. Pardon me. Any day of the
And
week.
that's why a secretary, we need a secretary.
And I think,
There isn't, for any one commissioner to have to be carrying any of it.
but that's part of our job. I mean, we need to know what's in those letters before they ever, Get to
Right,
us.
right. And we would.
How would that change anything? Because the secretary's not gonna read the mail for us. We still have to read our own mail. So how does that change the mail situation?
I don't think it does.
I don't either. I think it's just, I think it's irresponsible fiscally at this point. If, after doing the job, something else is determined, then there's some credibility to it, but at this point.
Other stuff, actually, Debbie can be doing.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's a really bad idea. Let me give you just a number of reasons why. One is she is not paid a secretarial wage at all. It's a waste of money to pay somebody who's making a technical wage to do secretarial duties, and that goes for a lot of our folks. Number two, she's got a full plate. She's the budget analyst for the entire county. She doesn't have time to pick up secretarial. You gotta talk to these people and find out what they're doing. You need to be here in the courthouse and see how the operation works before just piling a new job on somebody. That's our job as managers of our staff, is to know intricately what they do on a day-to-day basis, and then talk with them about how to tweak their job description if necessary. But you just can't sit here after just coming to meetings and just pile it on somebody, shooting from the hip. Fiscally, that's irresponsible. Managerially, that's
Well, and we
very poor.
put so much on Debbie.
Oh,
There's a few times this year, I thought she was gonna crack, to be honest.
yeah,
And I hate to say that, but
yeah.
I did.
Okay, we found that. It isn't for Debbie to do that.
no. I mean,
So-
her job is
So
financial.
it's back to having someone that handle these different things for us.
But we have people to handle them.
But we need to handle it, and so we can say, oh, this is important. This isn't gonna make a heck of a bit of difference. Going through the letters, scheduling appointments.
We still figure a meeting on Wednesday then, if we come to the time?
Well, why don't we each take a day this week and just, not Laura, she's here all the time, and wander around and see what's really going on with the different jobs. And then the next week we can meet. I wanna know exactly. Of course, I've got an advantage, I was here for years, so I know what these people do and where their job descriptions lie. But we need to understand, you know, I mean, and there's a lot of them that are really willing to take on more, but that's not fair to them.
Who's willing to take on more?
Well, just different ones, you know, they would say, well, we could do that for you. You know, I mean,
So you think it'd be better to check in-house first with,
not about the job, just check in-house as to what is their job right now and what does it entail.
and if they're interested to take this on?
Well, no, not yet. I think you wanna find out what their job is and how long it takes, so that you got something to go on.
that's still completely different. I mean, there, okay, she used Debbie for example, okay, she's taking care of the county. So it'd be, and she, so she couldn't do this. But if there's somebody else that's only doing part-time, or what about this gal that's doing this filing? Is there a chance that she could do this kind of stuff?
She has another job besides us.
Okay, well, those are things we gotta trash out.
So that's
And
why I
mine's
think
still
it's
taking
important,
money.
that we need to go to each person, find out what they do. If they're comfortable with what they do, what does it involve? What does it entail? And then we can sit down and figure out where we're at.
Public comment.
Go ahead.
What you're talking about, there are 3 different types of audits, like I explained to the commission at one time. What you're talking about is you need a process audit with flow charts and everything else to identify what people are doing, whether they're being overworked in their position, underworked in their positions. Yeah, you need a process audit so you can make an informed decision on this. I'm biting my tongue. I'm just on the verge of volunteering to help you with a process audit.
How long will that take?
Well, if this was being done by a professional auditor, it'd probably be I can't say. You have to do the process audit first to know how long it's going to take. I mean, you changed over to new commissioner. I really do think that the county, every time it changes commissioner, should do a kind of an audit review. Find out how the last commissioner did and the direction, problems and direction. Yeah. You need, Frank, you need to wander around the building, like they're saying, and figure out where the needs are. I can understand your need for a secretary.
I can take care of that. I'll go talk with every person.
I think we all need to.
Yeah, I bet Elaine's idea with spending a whole day here just talking to people. The downside of that is, since it's not an official process audit, you in some ways will be getting in their workflow way, in the way of their workflow and stuff like that. This just needs a lot more planning before it comes together.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, fortunately, this is a small bureaucracy. But unfortunately, it's still a bureaucracy. And there's just, in the private sector, there's ways you do things that I think should be done in the government sector too, and that's, your auditors are one of your greatest resources, because they can tell you what's running right and what's not running right, and what you need to do to correct it and stuff like that.
The other thing that I would challenge is I appreciate the spending a day and going office to office and talking to people, and I think that should be done on an ongoing basis anyway. But it is hard to get a feel of what somebody does 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, in one day walking around. There's a feel, there's a process to this courthouse that is ongoing at all times. Having a presence here on a continual basis so that you get a feel, get to know people, get to see what it is they deal with. For somebody, for example, to say, well, I meet people at the window and I answer their questions about motor vehicle. Well, to us, that may translate as maybe a 10-minute process. But to actually watch that person engage, see the paperwork afterwards, see the amount of training that goes into that, it's a lot bigger process than a 10-minute procedure. There needs to be a presence here that's ongoing so you guys can both get a feel of what people do and then address this issue. Is there really enough work to give somebody else if we're working all the hours we're paid for? But I think it's actually a very good first step to come in and spend a day and visit the different departments.
And more.
Absolutely.
It's lunchtime.
Is there anything else? Did you, Dana?
Yeah, just something quick. I was just out to Crow Creek Valley out there. Up there on, it'd be Muddy Lane, Hosfeld Lane. In fact, you might go out and check that once you know, if you're out that way. Go out and take a look at that between Leachman's house back east
Mm-hmm.
to Hosfeld Lane back in there, and then back to the south there just a little bit. What's gonna happen is there's a sheet of water, or sheet of ice coming down. It's actually coming out of Colberg's, where the water's originating from, is up just above Hosfeld's fence to the west there. And there's a sheet of ice out there that's just huge. And I've been out there back and forth, you know, in the last couple months, you know, and I've seen it in various spots, but it never has grown much. It's just kind of, you know, coming out and building up a little bit, and then it's just kind of sitting there. But right now, I mean, it's gonna come over the,
Is it because of the snow?
no, it's because, well, I don't know what it's from.
There's water coming down Spring Creek.
Yeah, and it's coming out of somebody's ditch.
Yeah.
Come on
Okay.
through it, 20.
So I called this individual and they're gonna go try to do something. They think they know where the problem is, so they're gonna go up there and try to get up above there and do something with it, so. Other than that, that's all we can do. But if they don't get it stopped, it's gonna cover that whole corner between Muddy Lane and Hosfeld Lane and go into Leachman's and then down into Ferret's, so. If it does that, I mean, there's nothing we can do with it at all. I mean, it's coming at a sheet and it's just gonna go right over. Just so you know about it.
Well, how come the water isn't going down the creek? Like it always
Because it's
has?
coming across the field. Somebody's got it, had it blocked off this fall.
Is there a liability issue here for somebody? Potentially?
Don't know.
Okay,
I think potentially yes.
it sounds like there's, yeah, without knowing any facts, that's something to be aware of.
Yeah. So. But
What can we do now?
there ain't nothing you can do with it.
Okay,
You know, the individual that's got the field back up above there, like I said, he's gonna go up and try to do something with where he thinks the problem's at, and he thinks he knows where the problem's at, so
Who's that?
that's Arnie. I had problems up there a couple of years ago. A dam didn't get taken out, and it was coming down across, and it went across Muddy Lane up above Leachman's to the west of Leachman's. But now it's below Leachman's, so. But I did talk to Arnie about it, and he's gonna try to do something with it, but, I mean, it's got that whole corner covered. I mean, that whole corner is ice. And it's about this far from coming over the road.
Over there?
Yeah. In the last couple of weeks, like I said, I've been kind of keeping an eye on it, but I haven't seen that big of a problem till just the last 5 days. I mean, it's gotten huge, so.
it's supposed to get warm this week, isn't it? 40-ish on Thursday? Is that going to
I
add to
don't
this
know,
problem?
it's gonna, if they can't get it moving where it needs to move, it's gonna cause problems all through there. I mean, it's just gonna cover the road. It's gonna be slick and so. And then we gotta go deal with it somehow. But there's nothing I can do with it except just cone it, mark it.
So where about is it that, it'd be on the old Hunsaker place that the water's
Yes.
being diverted
Yeah,
out of the creek? Or out of, the-
Well-
well, the Plunkett Lake,
yeah, out of Spring
The
Creek
drainage.
there, but I mean, it's, you know, it's into the old Hunsaker place, but they've got something going on there to where, and I don't know, Wally probably knows more about it than anybody, but it's just for irrigation maybe?
Yeah, they dam it off and they flood that field, you know, where the Hunsaker place there across from, where the corrals and stuff was.
yeah, well, they've always done that in the spring.
Well, yeah, in the spring, but not all
But there's,
See,
the
they're
water
not-
was just left running?
Well, they're
Smaller.
not taking their dam out in the
They're
fall.
flooding that field, they want the ice on there so it'll be irrigated by the time spring comes.
So instead of taking their little dam out and letting it go where it needs to go,
So in other words, if this dam was taken out, or is it already iced over too much?
oh, it's probably already iced over too much, because like I say, that ice is in there that thick. That whole corner of that field's covered. So, anyway, just, I mean, I just came up, just so you know, because it's gonna be an issue. And, so,
Joan,
Can the sheriff talk to the
I,
people?
well, you can, but I already have. And he's gonna go, you know, he's gonna try to do what he can, that's all he can do, there's nothing else he can do with it.
In this day and age of water rights, aren't they violating some water rights agreement by continuing to take water?
oh, I don't think so, because I think that's Wally probably know for sure.
That's a high
It's a,
water.
yeah, it's a high water usage, and they don't have a usage in summer, that's why they really flooded in the spring like that, and apparently trying to
Yeah.
do it this fall, I guess.
And, you know, people get busy and, you know, they just forget to do stuff, and I understand that. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to raise a big stink about it, I'm just letting you know there's gonna be a road issue, so.
I'll try to get out there and talk to Arnie.
Yeah, well, you know, and I have,
Yeah,
and he's good about it, I mean, he was last time too, so. Just-
Isn't it running across Oswald's field there too, Dan?
Well, it is, that's where it's all coming from, it's kinda coming right in that corner there, Muddy Lane and Hosfeld, it's kinda coming where that little ditch is.
Yeah,
It's not even a ditch, it's like a coulee.
yeah.
It's coming right down through there right now, is where most of it's coming from, so. But anyway, like I said, he's gonna try to go up and get it shoved back up to where it needs to be, you know, and I think it might be too late, you know, just because of the ice buildup, but
How thick is that ice, did you say?
it's probably about that thick.
Wow.
Be a good ice skating rink.
Yeah,
You can travel a long way out through there.
I'll let you do it now, just tell me about it.
I've done that enough when I was a kid, I cracked my head too many times.
Oh.
That's exactly what's wrong with it. Okay.
Thanks, Dana.
Yeah, you might try to get up there, Frank, and take a look at it though, I mean, it's, so at least you got an eyes on it, I got pictures of it, so.
when I go out to feed tonight, I'll go on over there.
Alright.
Well, nothing else, we'll adjourn till 1:30.
This stack of mail, I went through all the mail last week. Is this just for Ann, or was it for me?
This actually is yours, the stuff I got here, I'm gonna make copies of it. In case you have to see it.
Just to use out of the envelope for you. I have a question. What's the name of
You said Arnie, A-R-N-I-E. What's the?
Colbert,
Oh,
Colbert?
K-O-L-B-E-R-G.
Okay. I always think of the same when I hear Colbert.
Well, because we do have a Colbert.
I know, that's who I know, and I go, they're not out there.
throw those away. Those two.
Is there a motion over there? Here. Yeah, that just started. So what's happening in town, Sharon?
Not much, I kinda didn't do anything Saturday, trying to work to get my Christmas stuff down, and trying to finish it yesterday, now I have to go put everything back up that goes year round. Not much really going, yeah. I don't get about it in the winter as much as I like in the warmer months.